And joining us for this next interview, we have the coach for Splyce and solo laner extraordinaire. We've got Cabom. How you doing?
Yo, how's it going?
It's going okay. It's you sound a little sick. You all right there, man?
I am definitely a little congested. I don't know what this is all about, but it's the way it goes sometimes.
So this is the day after 4th of July. Did you party a little too hard last night?
I had some fun, but not too much, I'd say.
All right. Well, glad you guys can have like some. You have that kind of moment to blow off some steam before MSI kicks off here in this next week. I know a lot of teams are just like super nose to the ground and grinding and everything like that. So the fact that you can relax a little bit is good for you guys. So it's been a wild year for you guys. Last time we talked, you were fresh off the World Championship, and then here we are now, several months later, and it's not even the same team anymore. It's been a wild ride. Like how has that been for you, managing being through this team thick and thin?
Oh man, it's been I don't remember. Do you swear on these? I don't remember.
Oh yeah, you go fucking crazy.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's been a fucking disaster. I don't know. I mean, it worked out for the best in the end, obviously, but it's been like a 2-month process of just an absolute shit show.
Yeah, and it's still not over yet.
We're here now.
You still gotta find a new solo laner, right? Like, cause Baskin's leaving. Like, whew.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, after everything else has happened, that's like the biggest whatever, honestly. Like, like, well, I'll deal with it when we get there.
Yeah, it's funny, like, right, like replacing Baskin, whatever. Like we've done so much to get here at this point. Like who cares about that guy?
Yeah, I mean Baskin's been awesome, so I can't he came on last minute and he kind of slammed for like our whole season's worth of games basically. In like a week. So can't complain about anything that happened there. We basically got our dream scenario.
Turns out Baskin still good at solo lane. Who would have guessed?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But you did, however, you stood in pretty admirably against PK. The legendary Kuzumbo, the respect band Kuzumbo.
Yeah.
How did it feel? I mean, like, as a former pro player turned coach and then being able to get back in and play a game and then win that first game. Like, you didn't win the set, but you get the one win. Does that feel pretty good? Just to, like, yeah.
I think if we won game 4, because we were actually in a really good spot to win game 4. We like team wiped them, and then we like ran to fire to try and force it. But if we waited, Cyclone was 200 gold off Poison Star, so if we just warded and then fought again, we would have won. But we didn't, and then we lost.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was fun. I didn't expect to go in and win a game or anything, but I knew if we were going to win a game, it was going to be because I was Kuzumbo and I made someone kill themselves, and that was the way it was going to be, and that's how it went.
Yeah, you turned a lot of heads. I mean, that was like that. I mean, you single-handedly made me like very unsure with PK again. Like I was like, okay, they figured themselves out, and they lost to Cabom in solo lane.
Yeah, my team's just very, very good. As long as I didn't like super feed, we could win. Then they started picking Osiris, and I don't know what the fuck to do against Osiris.
Does anybody know what to do against Osiris? He just presses W at you.
If you ask any solo laner, dude, they all say that he's busted his shit. But then if you ask them if they want to play him, they say no, he sucks. It's like awesome.
Yeah, I deal with that all the time. It's very frustrating. It's like, oh, this guy's busted. All right, we're gonna play that guy. He's like, no, that guy sucks. I don't want to play him. It's so Or the worst one for me is when you're asking a player to play a god that's like busted. Like, no, that god's brain dead. I don't want to go to sleep in lane for 30 minutes. Like,
yeah.
What do you mean? We want to win.
No, I'm like, yeah, maybe we practice this today, and they're like, no, no, we don't do that today. I'm like, awesome, cool.
So watching the team, it's been really high highs and some low lows, obviously with all the turnover and everything. One thing that I've really noticed, and what I've been kind of saying on my own, has been Cyclone has looked like he's playing the best smite of his entire career in that ADC role just this year. Like, I know he had a monster run with Worlds, but have you seen like an even improvement on his play from there? Like from here, it looks like Cyclone is just doing whatever he wants and nobody can stop him.
Yeah, I mean, Cyclone's always getting better. He's very good at like figuring out what's good and how to play it the best. And then he also like as a hunter player, he has like no fear,
Mm-hmm.
which like if you watch the SPL, a lot of hunters play like kind of scared to die, and that is not how Cyclone plays. Cyclone won't rotate to something if he thinks it's bad, but that's not like if he rotates, he's going to go there and he's gonna pop you in the face, and you're gonna deal with it. Like I don't know, he's just very good at knowing where to be, when to be there, and what to do. So, and whenever he's in a fight, like it's so different. Like obviously our team's good wherever you go, but if Cyclone's in the fight, our team gets like a buff because they know Cyclone's going to kill them, so they try harder. I don't know how to explain it. It's the same with Baskin too. When Baskin rotates, everyone's like, "Oh, Baskin said we can do this, so we will do it." Like, I don't know.
Just the confidence that he instills, like, oh, Baskin said it, it's got to be true, right?
Yeah, we just have two like absurd side lanes that if they show up, we're like, "Yes, we can do this." Very good.
It's a good life to have, right? Like a lot of people just ignore side lanes, but no, I like the buck in the trend. Like, no, we play through our side lanes here, all right? Screw the 3v3. We're playing through the side lanes.
Yeah, our side lanes are quite good.
Looking ahead towards MSI, you guys, got in there, found your wins. Baskin clawing the team back like from the early portion of the year, and then everybody looking really good, honestly. Before Baskin kind of came on, were you guys was there any worry that you wouldn't qualify for the MSI?
Yeah, I mean, like the thing about MSI this year, right, is it was top 6 or whatever, so it was like, I don't know, it's not that hard. It was just we were in a bad position because even though like we played against rival and we won with a sub, like we won a game, we should have won 2 games. I'm pretty sure if I remember that set correctly. Or we were in a position. I hate saying we should have won, but we were in a position where we could have won 2 games at least. And then Dig, I am of the opinion that we should have probably won a game or won that set because we just got unlucky and not understanding how to play around fire, and it was turning at 25 minutes, which was dumb. So after we got that figured out, we were better, but then our team dissolved. So,
Yeah. Would you say
But
that like for the start of the year, I mean, like, focusing on like the Dig game, would you say that like Dig was like a fake #1 team because they were going to a bunch of best of 5s and they were getting stuff like, enhanced fire giants going their way and finding their wins, late in the games like that. And very quickly towards the end of the year, they dropped a set to Renegades and then they dropped the next set they play. Is that more a case of them finally getting figured out, or, is this, Dig has been the same team all along?
I mean, this is just like my opinion, obviously. But like Dig's like a super strong team. I think they actually every year that team shoots themselves in the foot kind of because they are always so dominant at the start and they have like a lot of good stuff figured out. And the problem is with the way that Smite ends up getting bounced most of the time is like whatever nail is sticking out of the board, the highest gets like slammed down, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
whatever Dig is running that's super good, like is always going to get adjusted. So like they were very good at picking comps that like could survive to 25 minutes and then they'd stall you and then they had super late game. And everyone was like, yeah, that is kind of bullshit. And I think realistically, like it was bullshit, but it was also probably the best way to play, right? Like if you could guarantee get your team to 25 minutes, that's not a huge ask. Like don't be 10,000 gold down at 25 minutes. Like if somebody asks you to do that, I'm pretty sure that's pretty easy to execute on. I mean, that's like securing one side of your buffs and not giving up like 3 gold furies by 25 minutes and you should be okay. So, but yeah, I think they're always very dominant at the start. I feel like they don't have a lot of people they can learn anything from because they're so far ahead of the game. And then people just like things change and people pick up on the things that changed. And then, Dig is still what they were before, right? Like
Yeah. So
I
they're
think they
like
just are. They are victims of the balancing process, is what I would say.
They're the inverse
But because
SSG.
what about SSG? Sorry, you've been cutting out a little bit.
Sorry, they're the inverse SSG. SSG doesn't have anything figured out, and then they figure it out and can play the game. Whereas Dig figures
maybe.
it all out.
I don't know if I would describe it. Yeah, Dig's just like they're very, very good at getting footing, but I think it's when people get a big chance to catch up with changes and stuff, and then like everyone's on even ground. I think Dig's just better when they have a lead on like information and knowledge, and then when they're even, like Dig ends up playing like the SSG of old, where like they never really force you to do anything. They just kind of hang out, and then they try to beat you in team fights late game.
Right.
And that's just not necessarily consistent. There are probably a few comps they run that are like, 70-80% win rate, but if the other team figures out what comp you're running that has that success rate and they just ban away parts of it that are integral to it, then you kind of are coin tossing, because late game team fights in Smite, like, what if like your mage accidentally sneezes and it blows up 2 people? Like, I don't know. What are you gonna do? Like,
Right.
that's not something that's always in your control, and people get impatient too. That's the one thing I would say though. Dig's really good at being patient about like running in and like defending fires and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been like the hallmark of like the Splyce team too, right? Has been force the clown fiesta if things are going not your way. Be patient, and then if you have to sacrifice Aurora, you sacrifice Aurora, and
Yes.
you try to figure it out on the back end. You can there's a really stark difference, I feel like, right now, even in the top end, of teams that can sit down and sit back and be patient, and then teams that kind of just like they get ahead of themselves and get impatient. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you have adapting, blink past everybody and kill the mid laner and then snowball, a victory out of nowhere. And other times it's adapting, blinking, Hebo, missing everything, and then getting team wiped. It's the tale of two adaptings, right?
Yeah, and I guess like to summarize the point about Dig 2, I do think that they were not a false like first seed. By the way, I do think that they are not the hardest team to play against, but I don't think you can deny that they won like the most games up until whatever rival secured first, right? I'm not losing my mind on that. But like they were definitely like they are that good. It's just that they aren't the hardest to play against, because like you have teams like Rival and like PK that are more versatile in their draft and willing to like slam you early and also take it to late game. Whereas like Dignitas, you can be pretty sure that you're always going to go to a late game.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's easier to plan for Dig, but that doesn't make them worse necessarily. You just know what you're getting into every game with them.
That makes sense. Yeah. Looking at MSI, God, I keep saying looking at. Like, you ever like catch yourself when you're saying something over and over again?
Yeah.
Turning our attention to MSI. This will be the first time we're seeing, publicly, in competitive play, the console kids getting, a crack at the PC players on, I guess, even footing or not even footing. I don't know how to really say that. We had, PC players go down and, beat the snot out of console, when it first got. But this will be, console players on their home turf versus PC on their home turf. Do you think we're gonna see any real competitive matches in those, or do you think it's gonna be pretty PC dominant?
The only team that I actually know anything about is the one that Bobby's on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they're pretty nuts, right? As far as like their scene's concerned.
Yeah, they've got like, I think the consensus is that their solo laner Wolves is like the best console player to ever play the game. And
yeah.
Like everyone begs him to go to PC and he won't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how good they're gonna do, because I think most of them are playing on mouse and keyboard when they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends on if they're all like practiced and good at mouse and keyboard. But I can't see any reason why they wouldn't like do stuff. Do I think they're gonna win everything? Probably not. But like, I can't imagine them like failing to play spoiler in some regard. I know for sure that I wouldn't want to be whatever PC team that loses to them if one does, because
I mean,
I don't know.
Weekend's not here to give a region or team or whatever their first win in competitive play, right? So
Poor Kurt Trey.
so they're gonna lose is what I'm hearing.
Listen,
So
I don't, whoever does it, I don't know. I feel bad.
what do you feel about, the console players coming to LAN and being able to use the mouse and keyboard versus the controller? I know some people find it, pretty contentious, and it's like it doesn't make a lot of sense to them.
I think it's fair. I mean, no matter how good you are on controller, like it has its limitations, right? Like I think it's fair to offer them the choice. I do think that it might feel a little disingenuous for like if you are an Xbox diehard fan or whatever, and you see your favorite professional Xbox player playing on mouse and keyboard, that's like admitting that like the functionality of the controller is worse than the mouse and keyboard. But I think the people that are upset about that should just be happy about the player and not the device they're using, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if you're like an Xbox purist, it probably feels pretty bad. But if you're like any other human being on planet Earth that likes Smite and like happy that they get the opportunity,
Yeah. I'm
that
pretty
that would be
excited
my.
for it. I actually got to witness at the start of the year when I was like doing the coach tryout carousel. I got to watch PC SML versus console scrims, and was really interesting. I won't say the teams who were involved, but the console solo laner soloed the PC solo laner on cooldown, and it was an eye-opening experience for me. They ended up losing because the ADC for console can't hit anything, but other than that, it was really solid.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, like it's just like the thing about pro play too is that a lot of people are used to playing against the people they're used to playing against, right? Like, so the advantage of like being like a professional caliber player, even if it's on like a different thing, is like people don't know necessarily like none of the PC players are gonna have any fucking clue what the console players do. To be clear, like I am almost 100% sure no PC player watches the console league ever.
Yeah.
So whatever they come in doing, no one's gonna know.
The only person that would be Aurora, because Aurora watches and sees and knows everything.
Yes.
You'd be the only person, like off the top of my head, would be like,
yeah, exactly. I think there's advantage in that, and like it's not like they're like shit players, right? Like they're obviously very good, even though like I don't know, a lot of Smite players have a habit of like, oh, this person in the 0.001 percentile is shit because they aren't in the 0.00001 percentile. Like, like it's like overly excessive critique that doesn't get anyone anywhere most of the time.
So that's the first day of matches. We've got console and SML kind of playing each other. I think a lot of the consensus too is that we're gonna see Armada pull through with all the talent that they have, and then on the other side of the bracket, it's simplicity. The SPL talent, right? That didn't come to the SPL is probably who we're seeing. So if we take that and that's true, do you think they have any chance to play Splyce? I mean, they got to play Rival and Dig first up. Do you think they could do anything against those teams?
Well, like I was saying earlier, I think in the case of Dig, those do you know which team on the bracket is on the side of Dig? Is it like the Armada lineup, or are they going towards
know.
Rival?
1 second, I've got the bracket breakdown here. It should be. Oh man, maybe I don't have it. Maybe I just lied to you, boldface. No, I have it. Okay, so it should be. Rival is placement number 2 team. So say Armada wins it all for the first day. Armada would be playing Dig, and Rival would be playing Simplicity.
Okay. Yeah, I think whichever team goes up against Dig probably has more ample opportunity to win the set than whatever team goes against Rival. That's not to say it's just like the way that Dig wins, right? It's just it always goes late game. So as long as like Dig's firing on like the same cylinders. You know, Kivo's still playing the game that he usually plays, and Trix is still playing the game he usually plays. I have faith in the other three to show up and do what they normally do. I think that Dig probably wins, but Land's always a different beast, and the fact that they always go late game means that anything can happen.
Yeah.
But I would still put, like, if you were asking me to like bet $100, I would still bet for Dig every day.
Yeah. I think that's,
But
the
I think
smart
whatever
money,
team
right?
goes, yeah, whatever team goes against rival, I think is gonna get pounded into the ground.
I mean, that's fair to say. Rivals just, I think Rivals with like the most complete Smite team right now, and that it's really wild to watch those guys play.
Yeah, the only way, like, if Rival's trying to be stingy about like what they think is good or whatever, and they pick just some absurd garbage, like if Final K finds himself on Artemis support again or something, like maybe they drop a game. I don't know, but or Artemis solo, sorry, but it like there is. I would argue that there is a bigger chance that the entire world spontaneously combusts than Rival loses this set.
Okay.
So
looking at the other matches of the day too, you know, the outside of the SML or console league guys who come up, you know, the two biggest teams that like potentially play spoiler would be Renegades and United. You obviously play up against the United, who's hot off their wins with Dig and everything, coming, Imolito carrying that team to victory. I guess I'm not going to ask you too much, but on that front, I guess we'll focus on the Knights Renegades. Do you think Renegades are going to re-find that fire and that, whatever they had to start their like season off with again, or are they going to be fish food for Pittsburgh Knights?
I think you'll be surprised. Renegades had a pretty rough hand coming in, right? Like they got into the SPL pretty late, and then they had to play a lot of their games in a row. So like they played against, what did they play against? They played against Trifecta and SK to start. And Trifecta, like obviously Renegades were gonna win that set. And then SK is a tricky team because some days they're absolutely absurd and other days they are abysmal. And so like Renegades got to sort of take advantage of the fact that, Renegades looked like they were kind of struggling with Trifecta, so SK goes in with a lot of confidence. And if a team like that comes in with a lot of confidence and they lose their first game, they kind of start second guessing yourselves, and then it's like a spiral, right? And then after that, they had to play like better teams. They had to open up with what they thought was good because they couldn't afford to lose games, right? And they got stuck in this cycle of they had to play like all of their games in a row, and they didn't have a good grasp on what they wanted to do or their identity as a team. So they were sort of like they had some picks that they were playing that weren't very good, and they didn't have time to make adjustments, right? Like people, like it's hard to get scrims when you're playing every team in a week. Like we had 1 week where we couldn't scrim like 4 or 5 of the SPL teams, and like we like what could we do? You know what I mean? Like, and like they had that every week. So like I think with the extra month they're gonna come out and they have a more established style that they like playing. Maybe they'll do stuff that other people will find weird or bad, but I think the unique thing about Renegades is that they're willing to just say whatever and do what they want to do. Whether or not it's good or not will come down to like how they execute.
Poseidon MVP is gonna be Poseidon ADC is gonna be the MVP of the tournament. I'm calling it now.
Maybe, who knows? But I think that if PK for whatever reason is taking Renegades with the same sort of mindset that they went against us when I was, because they were trying to win against us obviously, but when I'm there, like they're not going to ever play at 100, right? Like no matter what, because it's not like how can you take it seriously? It's like the other team has a sub. So if they play like that against Renegades, I think it'll be probably a 5-game set. I don't know who would win it, but if PK plays like the way that we know that they can play, they'll probably win like 3-1.
All right. I can't, I think a lot of it does hinge on, for both sides, which team shows up. Pittsburgh has like looked very cohesive, and the exact opposite, depending on the game, the set, whatever. And then Renegades has looked like they are very competent at Smite, and then also very, very not competent at Smite. It's a very fine line to walk between both of those teams. Looking forward to that. Also,
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was going to transition away, so I'll let you have the final thought here.
Yeah, Renegades just have a lot of like factors that you can't say. How is Raffer gonna do this game? How is Funball gonna do this game? How is fucking Dardes gonna do this game? Like, I think those three players, like, you can never go into a game or a set and be like, yeah, these guys are really gonna, have this crazy KDA, or they're gonna really shit the bed or something. You never know what they're gonna do. Whereas
Right.
like the only person on Pittsburgh Knights that I ever am unsure of is like their performance is like Zeros. I never know how Zeros is gonna do. But I always know Adapting's gonna slap. I always know Emilzy's gonna be annoying. I always know Deathwalker is gonna, run around and do shit. Like, there's no question marks there ever. Zeros is the only one, whereas Renegades, you're like, on any given day, you're like, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen today.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to sum it up. Then, looking at the other match that we know is going to happen, Splyce and E United. You guys really, the last half of the year, last half of the first split, really hunkered down, tore through everybody, and then E United on the other side made their roster swap away from Vedium into Imelidu, and didn't find immediate success, but had decent showings. And then they come back and in their season strong, beating Dig. What are kind of your thoughts on United? Obviously trying to ask more broad questions on this one.
Yeah, I don't know. United, since they got Emilito, I think they lost more games than they won.
I feel like they lost the identity of the team a little bit. What I liked about United when they first had the roster was that nobody on the squad was a superstar, and they all could play through each other. And I think adding Emilito, adding the superstar to your squad, you inevitably play through him. And I think that fundamentally changed the identity of a team, and it made them worse in the short term.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about them. I know that they had like a really hard time getting scrims or whatever, for a while, and I think they had a coach, but they don't have a coach anymore. Yeah, I don't know. United's weird. I think that out of everyone at MSI, I would probably put them at the like lowest chance to win it all, but they still obviously could.
Mm-hmm.
It just sort of depends on what they do with their month, to improve and adapt and stuff. But I feel like the only team I've seen where like obviously we had that dreadful game 3 where we ended up turning it around, but they had like a 20k lead or something, and they were just like they're kind of scared, it seems like, to do stuff, which is weird.
Yeah.
With the people they have on their team, because like Ice is a beast, Big Man's a beast, Benji's an animal, Emily, like they're all animals.
Yeah.
And Collis, like, he hits all his CC all the time, and he's pretty good about like not standing somewhere where he's just gonna get obliterated in the SPL games, at least. I don't know about scrims or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. If they find their stride, they could be really sick. I think they just there might just be something where like people don't agree with what's good, or there are people on the team that just aren't sure if they know what they like yet or something. That's just what it feels like. It doesn't feel like when they play whatever the picks are that are considered like meta or whatever. Like in our set or whatever, he played a lot of Jingwei, and that god's obviously pretty good.
Okay.
And he just didn't look very like. He didn't look like he liked playing the god. He played it fine or whatever, but like.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You can always tell when somebody like likes the character they're playing. Like they go above and beyond. Whereas like Emilito was like playing your typical SPL Jingwei.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I got 3 last questions for you. First question:
Sure.
Who, if anybody, are you looking forward to maybe playing the most at MSI? Like if
I
there's,
think
yeah.
if we beat E United, I'm pretty sure we play against Rival. And I think that would be the most interesting set for us. I don't know if it'll be the most
Mm-hmm.
interesting set of the tournament, but it'd be nice to be able to play Rival with like our quote unquote full roster. Um, yeah, I think the Rival set would be the best set to see.
Okay. Question number 2 is, who do you think has the best shot of winning MSI?
The best shot at winning.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't say us, I'll just take us out of the equation. Probably Rival,
Yeah.
honestly. I think
Okay.
Rival is the most
Yeah.
versatile and most likely.
They get that target on their back. You know, they're coming in with a lot of expectations, but you know, who knows? They could united it at Worlds last year. You know.
No one could E-United. That's the only team in the world that could have done what E-United did.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And then question number 3: are we finally going to see the Loki Cabrakan duo lane?
No, that's shelved, I'm afraid. That's shelved.
Oh, come on, the world needs to see it.
Yeah, they massacred that character, so I'm afraid that one's gonna have to stay on the shelf.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Cabom. Actually, last thing. Is there anything you want to say? Any shout outs you want to give? You know, anything that we didn't cover throughout the course of this interview?
No, I think I covered just about everything. Obviously, shout outs to my team, Cyclone and Aurora especially, for sticking through it. Shout outs to the new guys, they're doing good stuff. Shout outs to Baskin for fixing our split. And yeah, I think that covers it.
Okay, actually, last question.
Okay.
From this is from Twitter from forever ago. When are we gonna get Munch a jersey? When does he get his Splyce jersey?
I don't know. I keep asking and it falls on deaf ears. He's waiting, dude. He wants to be.
He's a vital member
out.
of the team.
I know. He's good. Right?
Right?
You're a good boy.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Come on. Best of luck for MSI. Really looking forward to seeing what you guys do. And, obviously, thinking it'll be Splyce Rival. Really looking forward to that set. Could be set of the entire tournament for all we know.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
All right. I'll see you around, man.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.